Hey Body Buddies, I'm Kristy Jo. I am so excited to be sharing this today with you. I've told you guys I'm going to be coming on here to share about how you should be eating after a binge, overeating. Now, this type of thing is not something we necessarily want to see happen, and we want to do our best to prevent this from happening. Hi, Amelia. And so part of that, looking inside and to say, how can we start preventing these from happening? We're going to be doing that inside my new course, which begins Sunday. It's called Binge Bye Bye. You can learn more about it at bingebyebye.com. So today, though, I want to talk about some proper ways to eat and to work out if you do happen to have one of those binges or those overeating sessions. Now, before I get into this, for those of you who don't know me, I just want to briefly tell you, hi Jenny, briefly tell you guys, hi Tara. Everyone that's tuning in knows me and my story, but I'm just going to briefly recap just so those who perhaps are new understand where I'm coming from. So, gosh, clear back. At the age of 9, I started to be very aware of my body, started to be aware of the girls on the magazines, everyone around me, started to get into the whole diet mentality where I was gonna, oh yeah, restrict, 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 and I realized I wasn't strong enough to do that. And what would happen, I'm sure you guys have experienced this, you get to that point and you just cave and you eat, and suddenly you're eating and you're like, why am I still eating? And then you eat more. And then you eat more. And the cycle for me got really severe. And I know that it can get very severe for many people. And there are jokes out there about like, oh, I ate the whole box and oh, I ate the whole bag. And it's not a joke, guys. Because the fact is, number one, this sabotages our health. This is very problematic. This can lead to type 2 diabetes. This can lead to cardiovascular disease, the number one killer in America. So on a health level, this is very problematic. Number two, psychologically, this is a real killer of our confidence. So if you've experienced this, you probably know the shame, the guilt, the frustration, the anger. For me, a lot of it was self-loathing. And you know what I did? Because no one really knew what I was dealing with in private, because it all happened at night. It all happened alone, where nobody could see me, and it was my thing, and it was full of shame. And so it was a very private life. I forget where I was going with that. So just to preface all of this, I'm going to teach you some tools, but I want you to be very careful you take them in context. This isn't going to fix your binging. This isn't going to fix your overeating and give you an appropriate measure to then give yourself license to binge, because you now know the tools of how to eat and train after. Because here's the thing, guys, this isn't going to fix it. This is the most healthy physiological way to get your body back in gear after that happens. Let me tell you the wrong ways. This is what I used to do. Eat past the point of fullness, past the point of bloating. I have photos that I've taken over the years of me after binges. Nobody will ever see them. I won't. They're for me. Because they were so full of hate, right? Hate towards myself. Why are you so weak? Why are you so pitiful? Those were the voices I allowed in my head. So you eat to the point of sickness, and you have not been able to stop. And for me, it always got to the point of eat, eat, eat. I really should stop. I really should stop. Why am I not stopping? Oh, this, oh, this. You don't even taste at a certain point. You don't even taste. You are feeling this emptiness, this craving darkness inside of you, trying to feed it, and it's insatiable. And then it flips on you on a dime. There's a lot of spiritual aspects to this, but I'm not going to get into those today. Then it flips on you. You're so weak, when you were the one egging it on in the first place. Anyway, that's the thing. You have to remember, this isn't just physiological, it's not just spiritual, and it's not just emotional. It's all of these. So today we're talking physiology. You eat, eat, eat. You go to sleep. This is what I did wrong. I would wake up the next day. I would drink a lot of water. I did that right. That's good. I drank a lot of water. I would, okay, well, sometimes, you know what, I wouldn't go to sleep. Sometimes I would go run in the middle of the night. Okay, first of all, totally not safe. Number two, stupid. On a physiological level, I'm about to drop some science on you. Are you ready? Okay, when you eat a lot of carbohydrates, which I promise you're not binging on protein. You're binging on carbs and fats. And guess what? Sugar is carbs and sugar. It's kind of the same thing. So your glycogen stores, when carbohydrates break down into little glucose molecules, they then get absorbed into your body. Now your body has a storage tank, so you're still not putting on body fat yet until the storage tank in all the muscle sites across your body and your liver are full. Think of it like a gas tank. Once it's full, then you have spillover. And that's when we begin to put on body fat, okay? So, physiologically speaking only, for me to put all this food in my body, my glycogen tank is through the roof. I have all this food sitting in my stomach, and I'm going to go run and go jostle this food. I threw up every time, and I'm going to be honest, I was like proud of myself. I was proud of myself when I threw up. Do you know why that's idiotic? Because that's not how your body was designed to function. And all that did was cause acid reflux, cause problems with my esophagus. Okay? You can't do that. You can't purge it out this way. Okay? So then I'm like, oh, now I'll burn it off. Because, you know, if I had 3,000 calories coming in, then I just got to burn 3,000 calories and I'm good to go. I'm back at even. I'm good. That was the mentality. No, guys, it doesn't work like that. Because depending on the type of cardio, I was usually jogging, right? That's how I actually got into long distance training, was to combat my binges. No one really knew that. So I would go jogging. So that's more of a steady state, probably heart rate 60 to 65, 70% max heart rate. I mean, it's pretty even kill. So at that point, you're using, I mean, you're not crazily using your glycogen stores, but you may be in fat oxidation mode. However, you're working off current food. Your body is not going to turn to body fat or even glycogen stores till it's used all the available fuel. That's right there. So then it goes through that. Then it's going to go to your glycogen tank. And to burn that down, guess what? You're still not touching body fat. It would, I mean, everyone's different, and I don't want to give you these unrealistic numbers because the science is very complex, but I'm trying to teach you on a theoretical level, okay? You don't, like, it's not just going to happen and going to jog a mile to get your glycogen stores down, especially if it's been full to the brim, okay? It's going to take some time. Now, that's not to go say, spend that long in cardio. That's what I did wrong, okay? Anyway, that's the approach I took. Or so if I actually went to sleep and usually cried myself to sleep because I was in so much physical pain, so much emotional pain, because I was a failure. I was a failure and I would never be anything. I would never have the body I wanted because I was weak. And because no one knew what was going on, nor did I want them to know. Right? Is this resonating? So then the next morning I'd probably, if I had college classes, especially when I was in college, I would skip the classes and go to the gym and burn calories and burn calories and burn calories. And all I cared about was seeing that number of calories burned on whatever cardio machine it was. There were times I had shin splints so bad I would cry when I ran. And I had to still run because those calories had to be burned. It was punishment. Okay? So now that I've kind of given you a preview of some of the ways that I used to do it, and guess what? I've been coaching people for 4 years, and I'm not the only one that's been stuck in these cycles. So I'm here to talk real with you guys. I'm here to share some real facts because let's just talk physiology. I hope you guys are going to check out the Binge Bye-Bye course because that's where we're going to bring it all together. Psychology, plus emotions, plus spirituality, plus physiology. That's when we get solutions, guys. And that's how I have reprogrammed my mind, my body. I have the body of my dreams. Do you know what? I never could have said that before. And I am absolutely happy to tell you that today. Not out of egotism, not out of cockiness, out of triumph. I did it. All those days that I hated myself, all those days that I wasn't good enough, I did it. And now it's my turn to turn around pretending almost that each of you are like my past self, because I want to hug that girl. I want to hug her, and I want to thank her. Because here's the thing about these deep-seated behaviors that are so personal and so guilt-filled and so embarrassing. We think that they make us weak. We think that we're not good enough because of them. And you know what? That's where you're wrong. You are the person you are today because of them. And guess what? This is going to be your launch pad into the new person you're going to create. And you will also turn around and say thank you to your past self. Thank you for teaching me and giving me this experience so I understand and I have compassion and I have a greater perspective of this all. Whew, okay. I haven't even got to my notes yet. That's just me rambling. If you guys like me rambling, I have a podcast. Go check it out, Body Buddies Podcast. So let's first talk about the whole what should you do first thing in the morning. So we want to help our body begin to clean out. So we have active fuel, okay? We have glycogen stores we've got to start busting through. Will you have put on some body fat? Depending on how big the binge was. And if you filled up those glycogen stores and then had spillover, yes, you will feel fluffier. Please remember carbohydrates. In order to store that glucose, I like to think of it like little pearls when they're by themselves. But the way your body stores them, I like to think of it like all those pearls getting strung together. That's called glycogen. So that's the liver, that's the muscle sites that I'm talking about. That's what your body breaks down to give you energy. It's really cool. But in order to store those little pearl necklaces, your body needs 4 molecules of water for every is it molecule of glucose or gram? I can't remember. But just the point of that is that your body will be holding excess water. So don't you dare get on that scale. That is the worst thing you could do because you will weigh more. And no, it's not about body fat gain. It could be. But let's just think about that. What's that going to do? You're already feeling bad. You're already knowing that was not a good choice. So stay off the flipping scale, especially for like 3 or 4 days. Just give yourself some time to get back to baseline, okay? Stay off the scale. Literally, if you are having trouble with the scale, get it the freak out of your house. Get it out of your house. I can't tell you. I weighed 3 times a day back in the day. 3 times a day, not knowing anything about fluctuation of glycogen and water. And based my value on the weight number. No. So get rid of your scale. I weigh myself maybe once a month, once every 2 months, 3 months. And do you know what? Before I step on the scale, I always go through this little routine first. My value as a person, before I see that number, how do I feel? Who am I? My value is here. All that scale is giving me some feedback about my weight and gravity. That's it. If I'm going to use that number to hate myself, to loathe myself, to punish myself, I'm not going to get on that scale. Am I in an okay place to do this right now? If I can answer yes, I get on the scale. And it's that easy. Practice that. It's going to make a humongous difference, okay? All right, so the first thing in the morning, here's a little tip. Again, I don't teach this for it to become a crutch. I don't think it should be used often. But if this is the situation that you are just like food coming out your ears and you know what I mean, like that fullness feeling, and many people may have never experienced this, and that's okay. This is for the person or people out there who are like, oh, me, help, okay? So you're going to take 8 ounces of water. I like to get it kind of warm. And you're going to squeeze a real lemon into it. Now, some people ask me, can I do lemon juice? Well, the difference between a fresh lemon and lemon juice concentrate is the sulfur dioxide, which is a preservative to keep the color from changing. So anytime we get those preservatives in there, I'd say, just think about it. If it's all you have and you're kind of like at a cabin or I don't know, whatever the situation, just if you have the opportunity to get a fresh lemon, squeeze that in, the 8 ounces of water, and then you're going to add up to 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now they do have pills. I mean, it's nasty. I'm going to be honest, it's nasty. But Cayenne pepper is a natural thermogenic. What is a thermogenic? You may be thinking of the word fat burner. Well, first of all, if you are in my tribe here at Body Buddies and you know Power Foods Lifestyle, my book, which for those of you guys who don't know, this is my book. You need to read it. This will help you with the physiology balancing of your proteins, your carbohydrates, your fats in a totally new mental philosophy. It's a food budgeting system that worked for me, getting away from the calories and the constant counting in my calculator. There's a little learning curve, but once you get familiar with something I call peak ranges and setting yourself up with a strategy, which may take one-on-one with me a little bit, or getting in my membership site, then you're good to go. And you can just literally strategically eat without obsessing. It's beautiful, but there's a learning curve there, but it's worth it because the breakthrough's on the other side of that learning. So anyway, back to this. If you are in my tribe, you should know darn well I'm not a believer in fat burners. You should know darn well I take people off fat burners. If they come to me for one-on-one coaching, I'm like, get rid of it. I don't want that in your body. Okay, because it disturbs the the whole balance of your body and your what are they? Adrenal glands. I'm like, they're little grape things shape up on top of your kidneys. Yeah, adrenal glands, okay? So what they're going to do is they're going to stimulate those overproduction. And so, yeah, your metabolic rate's going to go up. But guess what? You burn those babies out? That's not a good place to be. Because then guess what comes? Adrenal fatigue syndrome. And guess what happens when you have adrenal fatigue syndrome? That leads into chronic fatigue syndrome. And you know where that leads? Fibromyalgia. Everything starts with inflammation, and you have to get your endocrine system balanced. So that's one reason why I'm like, don't do it. Secondly, it is pointless unless you're like on point, totally on point. And I do, for my competitors, I do use them in the final like 2 to 3 weeks. But guess what? They're at 100% compliance. They're meal prepping. They're like eating out of their Tupperware, exact portions. That is the only scenario that a fat burner could be used. And even then, it's not a must. It's only in some situations that we agree. And I explain all the side effects and the problems that will come on the other side. And we agree. Anyway, so just please, I hear all the time, I'm like in GNCs and Complete Nutritions and I'm in Vitamin Worlds. And I hear these salespeople selling fat burners. And I'm just like, palm to forehead. And there's times I step in. There's times and I'm like, can I interject here? I messed up my hair. It was so nice. Okay. I'm like, can I just do a little education here? Because I think someone's missing something. And I think that's my duty, having this knowledge to not hold it back. Anywho, so that is the explanation of the cayenne pepper. Okay, so you're going to mix that up. Now, you may have heard of the addition of a tablespoon of raw maple syrup as well, and that's going to sweeten it. That's going to kind of raise your blood sugar just a hair, but when I do it, I usually don't. And you know, I should clarify when I do it is I haven't done it in 3 years. I haven't needed to. So you can, if I mean, the taste is going to kill you no matter what. It's rough. Like, it's literally one of those like, but it's going to help kind of get your system going. Okay. So drinking lots of water, absolutely. You got to make sure that that water is going in, just helping. It's not like it's going to flush you. A lot of people think, oh, does that flush you? No, it provides H2O molecules, which feed into many systems in your body that do their jobs, chemically speaking, so that everything processes. The body is not as simple as you think. It's not just in, do its thing, out. No, no, no. It is a very complex system that, why do you think they are always doing scientific studies? Because we're still figuring it out. And so we got to stay on top of the latest science. The next thing to think about doing is, this is a huge one, guys. Don't starve yourself. And I know it's like the most backwards way to think, because you're like, I just ate a whole package of Oreos, a whole pint of ice cream, and the whole bag of Doritos last night. Oh, plus the other little cookies, plus the candy bar, plus the, oh gosh, you guys, I would literally spend $40 to $50 on crap for one binge. I mean, just ridiculous. So anyway, you want to keep, in the Power Foods Lifestyle, the meal combination is called PVCs, protein, veggie, carb, PVF, protein, veggie, fat, or PVCF, which is protein, carb, veggie, fat. I may have got that acronym a little backwards. It's fine. I created it. I'm allowed to say it backwards. So here's the thing. Your PV is your backbone. That is your anchor for blood sugar. Okay, you need to read my book to really understand the blood sugar concept, but in simple detail. the more we have stabilized blood sugar, the better off our body is able to get into a fat oxidation state. When we eat high carbohydrate, high sugar foods, that blood sugar comes up. When your blood sugar raises, your body, instead of being in this awesome zone, right? This perfect nutrient absorbing and just, just kick butt zone, then it shifts and it's like, we got to get this glucose into the system. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Insulin comes out from the pancreas and is like, guys, let's go. Tells the little mitochondria fingers, absorb, grab all the glucose. Cool. If you don't have insulin resistance. If you have insulin resistance, those little fingers are like, I'm trying to grab the glucose and I can't get it. And that glucose is like, oh no, we can't get in the body. Where should we go? And then your body's like, I guess you can go into your belly and the hips and we'll just store as fat like that. That's what happens when you have insulin resistance. Okay, where was I going with this? PV anchor. So that means protein veggies. We strip the energy nutrients. Carbs and fats are our energy nutrients. They don't function the same. They have different roles in your body. Carbohydrates are for energy and brain function. Fats are for a lot of different hormonal function, for feelings of satiety. They feed into so many systems. They help absorb some very essential vitamins. Without enough fat, you're not going to get those absorbed. They're like little carriers. So anyway, we're going to just hold off the carbs and the fats for a little bit, and we're going to stick to our PV anchor at the normal mealtime. Well, what's the normal mealtime, you may ask? Power Foods Lifestyle is every 2.5 to 3 hours. First meal within an hour of waking. So PV, if you were going to have a C, strip the C, eat the PV. 2.5 to 3 hours later, ask yourself, am I clean yet? You'll know if you're clean because you'll probably be in the bathroom a little bit. You're going to feel your belly start to come in. You're just going to kind of feel like things are starting to move okay. You will know when you're ready to start putting your carb and your fat back in. I would recommend not going the full day of PVs. I've had times that I felt fine by lunch. I've had times that I only needed to do it for the first meal, and then the second meal I'd so like for breakfast I just do 4 egg whites and some spinach. And then for meal 2, I'm like, hey, I'm actually moving things along. I could do a protein shake, that's your P. I could do some celery, that's your V. And I could do a fat or a carb. So I could either have, like a half cup of rice or maybe a half cup of fruit. Or I could do some fats. I could do like 1/8 of a cup of raw nuts. I could do 2 ounces of avocado. I could do a string cheese. And so adding that carb or that fat back in at that point felt okay. So it's all about, you have to assess and say, body, you tell me when you're ready for this. You got to remember, your body is trying to tell you these things, but you have to listen. You have to be in tune with that. Another thing I would recommend on these PV anchors is that you stick to water-based veggies. So that's going to be like your cucumber, your celery, your peppers, your little mini sweet peppers. These are going to just kind of help to keep that feeling of lightness. And it's not to say don't have asparagus or broccoli or cauliflower. If you want that, perfectly fine. But that's what I've just found feels really better in my body as it's like kind of restoring back to baseline. The next thing to think about is if your stomach starts to growl, it is telling you, hey, I'm ready for those carbs and those fats. Bring those in, baby. Bring those in, okay? And so remember, it's all about this environment of your body. You cannot beat the fat until your body is balanced. And so, I mean, if this happens, let's say for someone who's preparing for a competition, which I've dealt with so many people like this, they're like, oh, Kristy, did I ruin everything? Here's the hard thing. I can't tell you guys yes or no because I'm not talking to you individually and knowing your situation, knowing your goal, knowing what strategy of eating you've been on. And that's the tricky thing in nutrition is if you hear people teaching this like generalized stuff and not teaching you how to adapt it, that's a sign that it's probably like lower level. Okay, we want to bring it higher level with adaptability because every single one of you is unique. Every single one of you needs to learn to listen to your body and to apply these tools that I'm teaching you, these principles, and apply them to yourself in the best manner for you, not only physiologically, but emotionally and psychologically. It's all very important. So here's a question I get asked a lot about. My foot is going numb. Oh my gosh, I'm kneeling down because this was a good angle. My foot is numb from the knee down. So we're good. This is worth it. Okay, here's a question I get asked a lot. How do I know the difference between a binge and an indulgence? Because in the Power Foods Lifestyle, I teach you guys about indulgence meals. Remember, we don't use the word cheat. I'm really against any of the verbiage of, I have just a different vocabulary around food and the body than a lot of people out there. I'm very adamant about it too. I will correct people on the street if they say something, and I'll be like, yeah, you mean this, right? So how do you know the difference? Here's the difference. It's a feeling in your mind. Because I remember once I had a client who, she had had a piece of chocolate cake, like a small piece. She was like, Kristy, did I binge? Like, no, she did not plan it. It wasn't an indulgence meal. It was unplanned. She had gone to a party. There was cake. She ate it, in addition to her strategic eating. And she's like, did I binge? Am I like someone like those people? And I said, honey, like, here's the thing. It's not about classifying it. It's about, what do you feel? Did you feel out of control? Did you feel you had the power to stop? Did you experience negative feelings following the event? Did you have shame or guilt or embarrassment around it? If it was simply, oh, like, that probably wasn't a good idea for my strategy if I want to reach this goal, like, oh, I should do better, I'd venture to say it wasn't a binge. Okay, you're doing okay. Those things happen. Deviations happen, and you be compassionate. All of our motivation, guess what, comes from a place of compassion and understanding. But I'm a big believer. You guys know, if you know me, I am a tough lover. I am a tough lover, but I also tough love from a place of compassion. Okay, and that is a very important way to treat yourself in the midst of all of these things. So if that is you, and you go off track and you eat that, or I mean, here's an example. If I get off track, bring me back, because I want to go down the track of indulgence and binge difference. So help me out, guys, if I get off track. But I'm going to tell you a story, okay? So this is really important, very important. So last night, I go to dinner, right? I'm going to dinner with a friend. We decide to go to Sizzlers because I was like, I wanted a salad, and I love their salad bar, okay? Now, 10 minutes before I got to Sizzlers, I got a text message from somebody that set me in a totally unexpected emotional direction, okay? And it wasn't even like big, but it was enough that something just fired differently, right? And I was like, huh, okay. So I go to the restaurant, and I'm enjoying a wonderful conversation with my friend, had an amazing time. And about a quarter of the way into it, and I first got my salad, and I got everything strategic, and a quarter of the way through it, I realized that I was craving going back for more, and a lot more, and saying, screw the strategic eating. Whenever you're out, Kristy, you really should just be normal around people, and you don't need to be crazy all the time. Like, literally, these are the voices in my head during the dinner. And I'm like, that freaking, like, not grilled chicken, like fried chicken and all that pasta salad, and oh, they had that Oreo pudding. Oh yeah, that all looks so good, right? Yeah, that's going on. And you know what? What's the first thing I did? Well, I didn't go get it. First of all, because I was like, oh, okay, girl, like, you got to figure this out. What's going on? What happened? And I quickly, in my brain, while still trying to have a conversation, but these things happen so quickly, right? I'm like focusing on the conversation, but I'm quickly in the midst of this. I'm like, what happened? What, you got like something snapped in your brain because you're not normally on this level. What changed? So I had to go back and quickly assess. And I was like, the text changed my emotional state from a state of power and I can do this and I'm disciplined to a state of slight vulnerability. All of a sudden my state changed. And so I had become weaker. And all of a sudden I allowed some of these different voices to come in. And so at that moment, now could I like do this whole assessment thing and excuse myself and be like, I need to go like rebalance myself? No. Okay. But in that moment, I just quickly, in like 2 seconds or less in my head, say, you have control. You can take care of this later. Discipline right now. And I'm not going to lie. It was hard. It was very hard. And I haven't binged in like over 3 years. Okay. But do I still have those little trigger things? Absolutely. And so if you are having these triggers, we're going to talk about these hardcore in my Binge by Buy course. I'm so excited for it. But you need to know it's the tools of how to manage this. So you know how I managed it? I did go back because it was almost to the point of when you have compulsions like this, addictions, there's a little bit of a, how do I say this? Like I started to shake a little bit because I wanted that food because my emotional state had been weakened. And I'm just like, and I excused myself, okay? I excused myself. I said, I'm going to go grab a little bit more salad. And I go, and I'm looking at all the food. If you guys have been to Sizzler, it kind of has like a round thing, and then it has like soups and ice creams and all of this. Like food. I love food, guys. I love food. I'm not a foodie. I'm not a weirdo. Sorry if any of you guys feel you're in that category. I love food. I love all food. I love fattening food. I love sugary food. I love it all. And I've trained myself to love strategic food. So I'm sitting there and I'm literally like kind of panicking because if he wouldn't have been there, I probably would have been like, let's go ham, right? And that's scary. That's a scary place to be. And so I allowed myself, I said, look, you can have these things, but I need you to keep them very, very small and eat them very slowly. And you're going to finish this conversation. You're going to enjoy the rest of your night. This isn't going to own you. And you're going to be fine. And then I also, here's the other thing that always happens. I took myself back. No, not back, forward. You have to be able to see your future. Because I projected forward and said, okay, if I am in tomorrow morning and I'm driving to the gym for my 5 a.m. trainings, how am I going to feel about myself? Am I going to be happy that I made a justification that isn't in line with my goals? Or am I going to be so proud of myself for the triumph I've made? And that mindset, 9 times out of 10 for me, works. Because I will do what I need to do in the moment for the happiness of my future self 9 times out of 10. So I did. I went and I got a little scoop of the Oreo pudding, a little scoop of the broccoli casserole salad thingy, which probably some people think is healthy. There's broccoli in it. Broccoli's healthy. The stuff in it. I got some crackers, just like 1 pack, 2 packs of crackers. And I had a little thing of grapes and 1 little pineapple. Now, I'm in a PVF lifestyle, so these carbs are like, no. But how did I moderate that? I said, you know what? Keep it small. You are not going to go crazy here. And I did, and I made them very small, and I returned, and I ate them all very slowly. And I was able to enjoy the rest of the conversation and focus my mind so much on the conversation that no thoughts of it were left anymore. And we were there a long time, in fact, till they closed. And we talked a long time. And as I drove home, first of all, the conversation was incredible, like just mind-boggling. This person, things that were shared with me about life and triumph and personal overcoming of trials. As I was driving home, I was emotionally triumphing in this person, at the same time emotionally triumphing in myself. Because addiction in general, as we learn to manage it, no matter what it is, it's a triumph. And we look at that as a learning point, a point of progress, a springboard into a higher level of living. But guess what? Just because you're not up here at this level of perfection, don't you dare label yourself. If you're down here swimming in some of these addictions, swimming in some of these difficulties, don't you dare tell yourself that you're a failure. No, not at all. And if people would actually share their stories more in real life, like I do, you'd know you're not the only one. I promise you, you're not. I'm known as the lockbox. I keep everyone's secrets. Trust me, I know everyone's secrets. It's okay. You're not alone. But you're also not helpless. And that's the important thing to remember. You are not helpless. You do have the power to begin taking control. Does that mean you'll never binge again? No, you'll binge. But you'll begin to learn the tools and the management of triggers. And that's what Binge Bye Bye is designed to do. I will, for 12 weeks, be taking you guys deep into your mind, into your emotions, into the way you view food, into the way you view your body, into the way we view life in general. Now remember, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a therapist. I'm not any of these things. I do know a freaking lot, though. And I've had a lot of experience coaching people and my own experience, which that's what I bring to the table. kind of like, I've heard this from a lot of friends who've been out of drug rehab. They say, you know what, it's awesome when like licensed people are there to help, but there's nothing better than having someone who's been through it and gotten through it to be there with me every step of the way. And that's how I feel about this. So I'm excited for the journey ahead. It's going to be wonderful. I've made it, in my opinion, for 12 weeks of all the time and the resources. I've felt like I've made it very affordable. Payment plans are available. You can either do it with just the workbook and our Facebook group, which I will be doing a training session like this every single week. We call them discovery sessions. And the workbook is going to really teach you some things, and it's going to go deep inside of you. And so if you are willing to take this bull by the horns, if you're willing to go inside yourself and ask yourself some hard questions, I'm not giving you meal plans. I'm not telling you you need to lose weight. That's not what this 12-week course is about. This 12-week course is about you reprogramming this as we share, as we express feelings, as we go through the workbook that's very closely aligned with the LDS Church's 12-step addiction recovery program. It's not exactly like it, but it's similar. It's gonna be an amazing experience. So I can see so many of you guys have joined. Liz, Sam, Jen, hi guys. I've talked for so long, I don't even know what time it is. So that's it for this one. What I will be doing is tomorrow, Thursday night at 8, gosh, what time? 8:30? 8? Go look at the meme that I made. Tomorrow night sometime, I will be doing a live Q&A session. If you guys have questions about the course, how it's going to work, how deep into it we're getting, you know, just anything in general, I'll just be coming live just to answer your questions if you're still on the fence about if this is right for you. Hi, Joseph. Thank you. I'm not in my workout clothes. I got ready for the day. You know, then tomorrow night, that'd be a really good place to come, and we'll have a good chat there. So this does kick off Sunday night at 8 p.m., at which point 8 p.m., that's when the cart closes, which means no more enrollment. And I don't know when I will offer this again. So it's kind of a jump on board now, and we're going to have an amazing time. So for those of you who joined midway through this, I think it's going to be worth once it posts. It takes a few minutes to render once I hit end or finish, whatever. But then it's recorded. So it'll just be live on the Body Buddies Facebook page for you to watch at your convenience. I do appreciate if you guys share this. You can actually share it in a, oh, thank you, 8:30. Thanks, Jenny. You guys, you can actually share these videos. If you click share, you can send it in a private message to somebody. If you know of anyone who this may be of interest for, and you know, be very careful, because again, remembering this is a very sensitive topic, right? And just saying, you know, she says some things that may resonate with you, and I love you, and just thought you should know about this resource that's available this time only this week. So Jen, opportunity of a lifetime, don't want to miss this. I'm so excited, and I'm excited. So thank you all for being here. I hope this has been helpful. You know, just remember, you cannot beat the binge on a physiological level, but you can rebalance your body. You can work on the triggers. You can begin to start to prevent these, but you're not going to go burn off the calories and make it okay. Now, I don't want you to get depressed and mad over that. I want you to stop the punishment and start taking a progressive step toward managing these things. And so again, just to totally sum it up, you eat PV foods on your markers, first meal within an hour of waking, every 2.5 to 3 hours. You do not starve yourself. Don't you dare save up your calories. Don't you dare miss your meals. Don't you dare think, oh, I shouldn't eat. Wrong answer. Don't you dare go do anything different than your normal training session. Don't you dare go do more cardio. Don't you dare go run in the middle of the night. Don't you dare put weight loss pills down your throat. Don't you dare do any of those things. It's not going to happen. And even though it may be psychologically pleasing to think you're doing something to combat it, you're not. You need to get real, and you need to be kind, and remember, compassionate. Jenny says, what if you wake up with a growling stomach after a binge? I would say, I mean, let me think about this. It would depend on how severe the binge was. Maybe, I mean, could you define for me, like, how severe? Like, could you define caloric number or food items eaten or anything like that, Jenny? That'll kind of help, because sometimes it's not that we need to put more food in our body. But here's the thing, is you're going to put a PV anchor in it no matter what. I would say if you are genuinely hungry, go ahead and have the PVC or the PVF, a half gallon of ice cream. So let's think about that. You are getting a lot of sugar. So you did get a raise in blood sugar. You're getting a ton of fat, a dairy fat particularly. So you're probably going to have a little bit of the runs, just because 70% of Americans can't process that much lactose. They don't have enough of the enzyme lactase. So I think with a half gallon of ice cream or something like that, definitely eat your normal meal. I would say go for a PVF over a PVC, because then you're just going to kind of help that blood sugar stay more stable rather than the PVC. Now, remembering PVCs are great and they're fine, but no need to disturb the blood sugar too soon, unless you were going to go do a high intensity workout and you needed that energy for some reason. So I hope that helps. Okay, guys, I hope you're having an amazing day. That's it. That's it for today. So I'm going to end this how I end everything. And I need you to think about why I say this. There's deep reasons. Power. Oh, I'm going to cry now. Oh, I cry so much these days. Oh, I'm a female, right? Total excuse. Power your body. Oh, okay, this shouldn't be a big deal. I can't even say my tagline. Okay, we're going to go. One meal, one workout, one day at a time.